Hey there, language learners. Quick question for you. What if I told you that 541 million years ago, life on Earth went absolutely crazy? I'm talking about the most incredible biological party in history, where basically every major type of animal we know today just showed up. Sound impossible? Well, buckle up because today we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing events in Earth's history. Hey everyone, I'm Ben, and welcome back to English Story Mode, where we make learning English fun through amazing science stories. So picture this, you're looking at Earth 550 million years ago. What do you think you'd see? Dinosaurs? Nope, they won't show up for another 300 million years. Mammals? Not even close. For almost 3 billion years, that's 3,000 million years, life on our planet was pretty, well, boring. We're talking mostly tiny microbes, some simple algae, maybe a few soft, squishy creatures that looked like living pancakes. Nothing with eyes, nothing with shells, nothing that could chase you around. But then something absolutely incredible happened. Scientists call it the Cambrian Explosion, and trust me, the name fits perfectly. In just 10 to 20 million years, which sounds like a long time, but in Earth's timeline, that's like a weekend. Nearly every major animal body plan we see today just appeared. And I mean appeared, like someone flipped a switch and suddenly the oceans were full of the weirdest, most amazing creatures you could possibly imagine. Let me paint you an even clearer picture of just how dramatically different Earth was before this explosion. Imagine walking along a shoreline 600 million years ago. And I mean walking very carefully because there wouldn't be any plants or trees to give you oxygen to breathe. The landscape would be completely barren rock and sand with not a single green leaf anywhere. The only life you might see would be strange, flat, disc-shaped creatures called Ediacaran biota. Think of them as nature's first attempt at making something bigger than a microbe, but they were still incredibly simple, more like living carpets than actual animals. Think about it. Before this explosion, animals were basically soft blobs. Then suddenly, bam, we get shells, eyes, limbs, segmented bodies, grasping claws, compound eyes like insects have today. It's like nature decided to try out every possible way to build an animal all at the same time. Arthropods showed up. Those are insects, crabs, and spiders. Mollusks appeared. That's snails, clams, and octopuses. Even our own group, the chordates, animals with backbones, made their debut. Now, you might be thinking, Ben, this sounds like science fiction. And honestly, some of these Cambrian creatures were so bizarre, they could have been designed by a crazy movie director. Let me tell you about some of my favorites. There's this creature called Opabinia. Picture a vacuum cleaner with 5 eyes on top and a long tube with a claw at the end for grabbing food. I'm not making this up. Then there's Anomalocaris. This guy was like the ocean's first monster, up to 2 meters long with giant grabbing arms and a circular mouth full of teeth. And get this, there's a creature called Hallucigenia. When scientists first found its fossils, they literally didn't know which end was the head and which was the tail. They had to flip it upside down in their reconstructions because it was so weird. It had spines on its back and legs underneath, looking like some kind of alien punk rocker. These fossils come from amazing places like the Burgess Shale in Canada and Chengjiang in China, where the preservation is so good we can see soft tissues that normally would have rotted away millions of years ago. Now, here's where it gets really interesting from a scientific perspective. Charles Darwin, the evolution guy, actually called this sudden appearance of complex animals a great difficulty for his theory. He was puzzled because evolution usually works slowly, gradually, over millions and millions of years. So why did everything seem to appear at once? Was evolution broken? Did aliens drop off a bunch of creatures? Well, modern science has some pretty awesome answers. But wait, there's more. Let me tell you about a few other incredible creatures that would make any science fiction writer jealous. There's Weewoxia, which looked like a spiny pine cone with legs, covered in protective scales and sharp spines. Then there's Pikaia, one of our earliest potential ancestors. It had a primitive spine-like structure called the notochord, making it one of the first animals that might be related to us. And here's a really wild one. Morella, nicknamed the lace crab, had this beautiful feathery appearance with long antennae and delicate gills that look like lacework. Scientists found thousands of these specimens, making it one of the most abundant Burgess Shale fossils. It turns out the Cambrian explosion wasn't really evolution going crazy, it was more like the perfect storm of conditions that allowed rapid evolution to happen. Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to build a fire. For a long time, you have wood but no oxygen. Then suddenly, someone opens all the windows and whoosh, everything catches fire at once. That's kind of what happened to life on Earth. The first big factor was oxygen. For most of Earth's history, there wasn't much oxygen in the atmosphere or oceans. But by the Cambrian period, oxygen levels were finally high enough to support larger, more active animals. It's like upgrading from a tiny engine to a powerful motor. Suddenly, you can build bigger, faster, more complex creatures that can move around and hunt and do all sorts of amazing things. Now, let me help you visualize what Earth actually looked like during this incredible time. The Cambrian period happened between 541 and 485 million years ago, and the planet was dramatically different from today. First, the climate was much warmer. There were no polar ice caps and sea levels were much higher. Most of the continents were clustered together in the southern hemisphere, and the supercontinent that would later become Gondwana was forming. The oceans were the main stage for this explosion of life, and they were crystal clear because there were no plants on land to create runoff and sediment. Picture tropical seas extending much further inland than today, creating vast, shallow marine environments, perfect nurseries for all these experimental new life forms to evolve and thrive. Next, the ocean chemistry changed dramatically. Continental weathering, basically rain and rivers washing minerals from rocks into the ocean, provided all the raw materials animals needed to build shells, exoskeletons, and hard body parts. Before this, animals were soft because they simply didn't have access to the calcium and other minerals they needed to build armor and tools. But here's my favorite part. Predation created the world's first arms race. Once some animals developed the ability to hunt and eat other animals, it was game on. Prey animals had to develop better defenses, shells, spines, the ability to burrow or swim fast. Predators had to develop better hunting tools, claws, better eyes, faster movement. It was like an evolutionary competition where everyone kept upgrading their equipment. And finally, there's this incredible thing called genetic toolkits, specifically something called Hox genes. These are like the master blueprints that tell an animal's body how to develop. During the Cambrian, these genetic tools became incredibly flexible, allowing rapid changes in body plans. It's like having a super advanced 3D printer that can suddenly create any design you can imagine instead of being stuck making the same simple shape over and over. The result? By the end of the early Cambrian period, virtually all the basic animal blueprints we see today were established. Isn't that incredible? Everything from tiny insects to massive whales, from simple worms to complex humans, all of our fundamental body plans trace back to this amazing 20 million year period of biological innovation. It's like the universe held the biggest brainstorming session in history and came up with the designs for almost every animal that would ever exist. Speaking of incredible innovations, let's talk about one of the most revolutionary developments of the Cambrian explosion, the evolution of eyes. Before this period, the world was essentially dark for living things, but during the Cambrian, eyes evolved independently at least 40 different times. That's right, nature came up with the solution for seeing the world around you dozens of different ways. We got simple light-detecting spots, complex compound eyes like modern insects have, and even camera eyes similar to what humans have today. The trilobites developed some of the most sophisticated eyes in the fossil record, made of calcite crystals that could detect polarized light and had built-in correction for spherical aberration. It's like they had natural high-tech camera lenses 500 million years before we invented cameras. What's even more fascinating is how modern technology is revealing new secrets about this ancient explosion of life. Scientists are using CT scanners, electron microscopes, and even particle accelerators to study these fossils in ways that would have been impossible just a few decades ago. They've discovered that some Cambrian animals had remarkably sophisticated nervous systems, with complex brains and behaviors we never imagined. Recent discoveries in China have revealed soft tissues, guts, even fossilized embryos, showing how these ancient animals developed. And here's something that blows my mind. Researchers have found that some of the genetic switches controlling animal development today are the exact same ones that were working 540 million years ago. We're literally using the same biological software that powered the Cambrian explosion. So, what can we take away from this mind-blowing story? First, sometimes the most dramatic changes happen when multiple factors come together at just the right time. The Cambrian explosion needed oxygen, the right chemistry, predation pressure, and genetic flexibility all working together. Second, life is incredibly creative and adaptable. Given the right conditions, evolution can produce solutions we could never imagine. And third, even the most complex things often have simple beginnings. All of today's amazing biodiversity traces back to that one incredible explosion of creativity 540 million years ago. And you know what? That's exactly what we're doing here on English Story Mode. We're taking complex, amazing scientific concepts and making them accessible and fun to learn about in English. Every episode, every story, every new word you learn is like your own personal Cambrian explosion of knowledge and language skills. You've got this. Every episode is a step forward in your English learning journey. You know what's really exciting? The Cambrian explosion teaches us that evolution is far more creative and explosive than we ever imagined. It shows us that when conditions are right, life doesn't just slowly creep forward, it can absolutely explode with innovation. This has huge implications for how we think about evolution on other planets too. If life exists elsewhere in the universe, we might expect it to go through similar periods of rapid diversification when conditions are perfect. And here on Earth, scientists are studying whether we might be in the middle of another evolutionary explosion right now caused by human activity changing the environment so rapidly. Some species are evolving new traits in just decades or centuries. Urban birds learning new songs, fish adapting to pollution, insects developing resistance to pesticides. Evolution never stopped being creative, it turns out. Before we finish, let me share some absolutely mind-blowing facts that really put the Cambrian explosion in perspective. Did you know that the total diversity of animal body plans created during the Cambrian has never been exceeded? That's right. In 540 million years since then, evolution has been incredibly creative with variations, but it's mostly been working with the basic templates that were established during those crucial 20 million years. Here's another incredible fact. Some of the most successful animals from the Cambrian are still thriving today. Horseshoe crabs, jellyfish, and brachiopods are living fossils that survived multiple mass extinctions. And get this, the compound eyes that evolved during the Cambrian are so perfectly designed that engineers today are copying them to create better cameras and sensors for robots and spacecraft. Ancient innovation inspiring modern technology. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. If you enjoy diving into the incredible world of the Cambrian explosion with me, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this episode a thumbs up. It really helps other English learners discover these amazing stories. And definitely drop a comment below. I read every single one. What's the hardest part of learning English for you? Are you more interested in vocabulary, pronunciation, or grammar? And what scientific topic should we explore together next time? Oh, and don't forget to check out the description box below. I've included 10 thought-provoking questions about today's episode that will help you practice your English and really think about these amazing concepts we've covered. These questions are perfect for discussion practice or journal writing. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey back in time to witness the most spectacular biological event in Earth's history. Remember, learning English through fascinating science stories makes the whole process more engaging and memorable. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep being awesome. I'm Ben, and I'll see you next time on English Story Mode.